Back in the 60s, women insisted growing up to be a housewife was no better than to be some man's slave. They wanted to be liberated, and they sought that through putting off traditional roles of the housewife and the mother, and then entering the workplace, and later on taking extreme liberty sleeping with whoever they want and whenever they choose in a way never granted to men. In short, they broke free of traditional gender roles and assumed new roles more in line with what men do. They eventually made peace with the housewife role and concluded that if a woman wanted that, then it was fine with them under the sole condition they weren't expected societally or required by law to fulfill it. In a fashion, the role of the housewife is nothing more than a show or a facade nowadays. We fast forward to the 80s, where they began suggesting that patriarchy hurts men too and advocated for men to free themselves from its bonds. This is incredibly odd to suggest and shows a rift in the ideological continuation of the feminist theory. If patriarchy is harmful to men too, then it indeed wasn't predicated on the oppression of women and benefiting of men as they always preached. But that's a different topic. Let's talk about why they advanced that idea. What they were hoping for is for men to choose the role of a housewife while they became breadwinners. They didn't expect men to simply shun the role of provider and protector and truly liberate themselves by putting off marriage and its associated responsibilities for as long as possible, and perhaps even altogether. But that's what happened, and now the feminists of today don't like it. Men expected that after getting educated and working hard and proving that they were capable of providing for a family, a young woman would find them attractive, marry them, and bear their children, and then they would live happily ever after. But this dream has morphed into a daydream after they realized the life of the married men is actually nightmarish. Divorce, child custody, alimony, and child support are practically inevitable and make slaves of the men who seek to live the old dream. Young men en masse are waking up to this new reality, and they are opting out. They've been told they are unnecessary, and now they respond the same way to womans. However, the feminist wing of liberals like Richard Reeves, Scott Galloway, Christine Emba, and Christina Hoff Sommers don't like it. Feminists seem to believe that women are entitled to a man who will support them in marriage and after divorce, entitled to take a man's children and demand that he hand over his paycheck until they're 18, entitled to men who are willing to go die for them, and also entitled to reject men entirely if they so choose, but men are entitled to none of it. Instead, men should be happy to find a promiscuous woman who already has a couple of kids for him to support and who will live with him just long enough to produce a couple more before leaving him, and claiming that she is now entitled to half his stuff and lifelong support payments under threat of allegations that he was abusive. The single motherhood rate for OECD countries stands at 40%. Men don't want the nightmare offered by the modern, liberated women. Men are finding that eschewing the role of provider and protector is quite liberating. They don't have to grow up as fast. They don't have to work as hard. They can actually enjoy life. Not only that, but because young women became very promiscuous, men can hook up with as many or as few as they like, and the modern liberated woman and all the baggage that comes with her is just as irrelevant to the young man as a bicycle to a fish.